I wasn't even sure anybody would read longer. So that was kind of a hold my breath and just see what happens kind of moment, because the writing the short was a lot harder.
Can I ask a quick question? What do you consider for erotica short, the average lengthwise?
I write erotica shorts because it makes it easier for me to write short things, and I sell my erotica shorts at about 2,000, 2,500 words. And my Dirty 30 is more like 3,100. You have to have a 100-book bundle to sell, and because there are people that write what I write, and they put out a book every single day.
Oh my gosh.
And, yeah.
That's a lot to keep track of.
But when it's only 2,000 words, you're basically just publishing a sex scene every day. Yeah. So I have 700 titles.
You have how many?
700.
Oh my God.
So, and I'm behind in my category.
Layla?
Yeah, I don't think it's the Dirty 30 anymore. I think it used to be, but nowadays I do think it takes closer to 100 to really get traction. And my shorts are 3,000 to 5,000 words usually.
My shorts are about 3,000 to 15,000. So it does depend. You do get better page read money for 15,000 words than you do 3,000. Is that, 8 cents for a book read is great, let me tell you. Okay. Would you three give me the, because I'm sure a lot of you out here are curious, erotica, what is the difference between erotica, erotic romance, and romance?
Well, the point of erotica is to calm. So that's going to be what your plot is centered around, is getting your reader happy.
A happy ending?
A happy ending. It doesn't matter if it's forever or if it's a one-night stand with erotica. With erotic romance, it matters. With steamy romance, it matters. You have to have the happily ever after with romance.
Or happy for now?
Yes, at least happy for now. With erotica, I mean, I've read books that the heroine died at the end after her orgasm. I mean, it was just, there doesn't have to be a happy anything, except for just the happy happy.
In a lot of my erotica shorts, I don't even give my heroes and heroines names. Some of them are just daddy and brat, and that's it. So I don't need any happily ever afters in mine.
Yeah, my stuff that's mostly erotica, it leaves them at a good place, because I'm a sucker for a happy ending. But yeah, it's just the point of the sex scene. And when you move from anything onward, it's just, for me, the difference between erotic romance and just kind of romance is there tentacles involved, how many orgasms, the dirty talk, those kind of things.
Which will segue into, what is the dungeon? What can land you there? And no, being an erotica does not make you put in the dungeon.
I don't know, somebody at Amazon looks over everything I do. I breathe on the dashboard and a book changes. But for me, I have one book that I didn't even realize got put in the dungeon. It was early in my career, I just didn't understand why it wasn't selling. So I just wrote something else and kept going. For the stuff that I have found that will land you in the dungeon is any kind of side boob.
That's on the cover.
Yeah,
No
any kind
side
of,
boob.
that is the only thing that I have found that got me actually dungeon, which is when you don't come up in regular search terms. Like, so if I put in my name and the book title in the top little search bar on Amazon, nothing happens. You have to actually go deliberately with the book link or to my author page, and then you can find it from there.
Can you clarify which dungeon you guys are talking about?
The Amazon dungeon where you cannot be found
Got it.
through normal search means.
I've had 49 books blocked on Amazon, so I have a thing where if you're writing blurbs, there are 3 things you want to stay away from. You want to stay away from any familiar titles, no mom, sister, anything like that. No, definitely no daddy or stepdad. You also wanna stay away from anything that sounds like they're underage. No child or babysitter, just, it's barely legal, college, co-ed. And then the third one is anything that sounds forced. Nothing coerced, nothing dubious consent. The girl has to want to be there, at least in the first few pages.
Is there a difference between blocked and dungeon?
Yeah, blocked means they will not sell your book. And if you get too many blocks, they will ban your account. I've gotten my account banned. It's threatened to be banned once. And so now I can't publish in that series, which is the bestseller series.
I got one book, I can't remember if it was banned or dungeoned, I took care of it really quickly. But it was the cover that got me, and it was a ankle with handcuffs beside it. And that was all it was. There was nothing crazy about it, but somebody said the other day, and it rings true to me because it's always been my experience, publish erotica during the week.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Always publish erotica during the week. Do
Yeah,
not
Even
publish on the
update it
weekends.
on the weekend. Don't
The-
even look at it on the weekend.
Mhm.
And I don't even send my erotica books back to review for anything. Whatever I put it up as, that's it.
Can you clarify the weekend?
Well, so Amazon has a couple of different shifts of people working, and on the weekdays, they're usually Americans, and they're usually a little more open-minded. And on the weekends, they're usually not. They are from somewhere else, and they are more conservative.
International country where it's cheaper and they don't have to pay the time and a half for weekend employees. And their standards of what they consider inappropriate are different than you get from the standard employees during the week.
Yeah. I always publish on Tuesday, because it's safe.
Yeah, and then.
You give them a couple of extra days during the weekday crowd to get it approved.
Yeah,
At night Eastern time?
anytime after night for, Eastern,
Like
Central.
just US basically?
I do it in the evening,
Okay.
because it seems like the people who work night shift are a lot quicker and a lot more lenient.
They don't care, they wanna get back to watching YouTube.
Or Pornhub, one of the two. The other things that can trigger dungeon, like she said, showing a woman in restraints, whether it's
Any form of restraint,
any form of restraint,
even if
flags.
she's smiling.
If they can't see the underwear line, like you put your text and put fog or something over it, and they can't tell that she or he have underwear on, that will get you blocked. Blood on the cover will get you blocked.
Gun pointing at the viewer gets you blocked.
Yeah, knife, weapons on an erotica cover will get you blocked. There is a whole list on Reddit that you can go through that tells you what will likely get you blocked on Amazon. And so far, they seem to be 100% correct with the people who are in our 20Books group.
Yeah.
Can you make a living off of erotica?
Yes, if you find your readers and you are satisfying your readers with how long it is, the content, the price point, whatever it is the combination that your readers want, absolutely.
Yeah, it's harder with erotic shorts. Even with the huge catalogs that I have, if I don't continually publish on those pen names, the sales go down. There's so much out there that you just have to keep your name on the front page.
Yeah, I published every week. When I was publishing regularly, I published every single week. Put it out on Tuesday, and that way it slowly built over time. And your visibility builds over time, but I take any longer than that and it usually slows me down.
Which will bring us to the next one. Why is knowing your kinks important?
Because you don't want to offend anybody. And everybody does kinks differently. That is one of the things that was the hardest for me to learn is when I first started writing age play, I had some beta readers that were in the lifestyle and were helping me navigate through some things. And they were very happy with some of my first stuff, but when I branched out and it was still very legitimate how people experience it and what they do in the lifestyle, but it wasn't their version, they got angry at me. So, just, yeah, know what, at the very least, know what you're gonna write, and so you can defend it.
My readers come for one thing for my books, so as long as you give them that one thing the way they want to see it in their head, then they'll just keep coming back to read more.
Yeah, erotica readers want that one thing that's gonna get them going. And that is like, if you switch around like I have fun doing, it really will slow you down because your readers want that one thing. And it can be really, really hard to last a long time doing this one little niche because it gets a little boring sometimes because, I mean, yeah, it's fun, but every time, you don't want it the same way every time, but your readers do. They want it the same way every time.
And there's a certain series that we all know that's very famous that gets BDSM rock. Completely and totally. So why are things like safe words important to have in your erotica?
For me, I write very, as realistic as you can do in romance. I want everybody happy, I want sweet guys, those kind of things. So I'm not saying this is 100% realistic. But for me, portraying the lifestyle as realistic was really important because I didn't realize how many of my readers were curious about what I wrote because it was pinging something in the back of their head that maybe I'm not as vanilla as I thought I was. So for me, when I meet a lot of my readers at conventions and things like that, a lot of them start to cry because I opened their eyes. So for me, I have to be really careful how I'm portraying things and how I'm presenting different kinks and that kind of stuff because people are taking it very personal.
Mine, I think my reader is predominantly male, and my books are predominantly dominant male, so I don't have safe words because they don't want to be safe with their women.
Fantasy-wise, you can get away with things that you cannot get away with in real life. So although some of mine do have safe words, and they'll never be used, ever. Because people don't want it to stop. So putting a safe word in is great, and you absolutely should, but don't use it.
Covers. Since you have to do a lot of covers for short stories, how do you go about doing your covers?
I've got one series that is around guys who like lingerie. It's around a modeling company and things. So all of the covers have guys in some sort of panties. And I managed to have one cover that they said, no, you gotta change this. But for the most part, I was thankfully really careful with what you could see and that kind of stuff. So you can do a lot of hints that let the readers know what you're doing, why, and that kind of stuff. You just have to get a little bit more creative and find a cover artist who has a good imagination and can see what you want.
So do you pay for people to design your covers? Do it on Amazon, create
I
your
pay
own?
for people, and I've got a guy on Fiverr I use if it's just an inexpensive one, and I found some cover artists in my genre that as long as I'm bringing the picture and I'm bringing an idea of what I want, that cuts down on their time significantly. So then I can negotiate sometimes a little bit of a better price of what you think the cover might cost because I've done the hard legwork. They're just putting it together because I have no technical skills in anything. So I have no idea how to cover it together.
I taught myself GIMP, and I make all of my covers on that. And what I do is I buy pictures from Deposit Photos. I make a template to where all I have to do is I swap out the picture and I change the title. I have my series title that just stays on the top, my author title, author name that goes on the bottom. And I usually batch, I make the whole, like, 10 covers at once, and then I finish the stories.
What was that program?
It's GAMP?
It's free.
Yep.
Yeah, it's free.
Thank you.
I use Affinity Designer, but it's pretty much the same. Or Affinity something, I don't know.
It's Affinity, yeah.
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 Because that's a one-time cost, and that was all I had to do, and then I never have to worry about it again. But, yeah, I usually make my own, sometimes. All right. Sometimes, oh, have I messed up the shot?
No, I just want to get it every.
Sometimes I do buy covers like from Go On Right because they're real cheap, and he can design a whole bunch of covers, and then he'll have a bunch of series, and that'll give me ideas for stories. So I'll just buy 3 or 4 covers from him, or 10 covers at a time from him, and they're cheaper that way because you can't really afford a lot when you're first starting out in erotica. You can afford more as you go along, of course, but.
So then those of you who jump from kink type or story type to story type, you use the covers?
You have to-
predominantly
you have to show the
signal
cover.
what you're writing?
Yeah, the covers, either the titles or the pictures. I usually just find cool pictures and then I'll title them something that tells the reader what they're supposed to expect. Reader needs to know what they're gonna expect to get there.
Publishing regularly, especially for short stories. How often do you publish?
I don't do that many shorts anymore just because they're super hard for me. Getting out 2,500 words just in a day, if it had to be a single condensed thing, would be just painful. But normally I release once or twice a month, depending on what it is and how many times my brain has jumped around in different books over the past few weeks.
I'll usually, when I'm actively publishing a series, I'll do about 4 or 5 a week. Because I do not want to do it on the weekends. So if I get one out early in the week, then I'll get 5 in. If not, I get 4.
That's every week for me, Tuesdays. Pretty regular.
Okay. Advertising your erotica. How do you go about doing that? How do you promote your erotica since you can't run ads on Amazon? Facebook will sometimes get angry at you.
I like newsletters because there's a lot of newsletters for a variety of heat levels and things like that. Some are better than others, but most of them aren't terribly expensive. So it's a good way to find new readers. I wouldn't do it constantly, especially if you're releasing daily, but honestly, I think the best way to do it is to have some things under that are just strictly erotica, and then some things that are more erotic romance, and then advertise the erotic romance, and then they will find you other stuff too.
I found there's other erotic writers. We get together and we put a bundle out, and then we put it on sale, and then so they get to pick and choose new authors that they haven't read before. And Smashwords is where a lot of my erotica is sold, and they have a summer-winter sale. So I get a lot ready, and then we publish it during that time. So a lot of people just find new people during those months.
I use your list. You wanna talk about your list?
I have a great list on the 20Books page that has a list of let me rephrase that. Newsletter ads that you can buy for various sites that allow erotica and erotic romance. So Shameless Book Promos is one. I can't remember the others right off the top of my head, but there's quite a few sites that will allow you to promote erotica. There's a lot that will not, and you will get nasty little notes saying that. But I've had a success of running a free promo every month, and on one series, free promo book 1, next series free promo book 1, and rotating through it each quarter, and I make a decent amount of money from read-throughs and purchases through the series. open it up for questions.
You only publish on Amazon?
Yes.
I only publish on Amazon because I'm lazy.
Okay.
I'm a white author. You can find my erotic shorts on everywhere, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Apple, Google Play, Smashwords.
I have most of my stuff on Amazon, but I do have one incest series that I sell on Smashwords and on my own website.
All Amazon for me. I'm lazy too. I'm slow.
I actually,
That explains so much.
It does, doesn't it?
I actually have mirrored my stuff on Smashwords. It's pure incest on Smashwords, and then the same pen name has one step away on Amazon, so that I can get the story out to different places.
In the back?
Yeah, I'm wondering if you've ever done cover refreshes on backlisted stuff, and if you've ever seen any benefit from that.
I'm currently republishing all of my erotica that was done under a joint pen name, under my pen name, and redoing them, and I saw an uptick on, right after, probably within a week of me publishing the new covers, I saw an uptick in reads. I haven't done any promos, so,
Yeah, I've been publishing since 2014, so I have several series that I have rebranded with new covers to fit the market for the new time. So, yeah, it does help.
And sometimes just what you can afford and your skill level when you were first starting out is what you can do and go for it. But then you get a few years down the road and you're better, or you found a different cover artist and that kind of stuff, and then, yeah, go back and refresh some of those things that you look at and go, I don't know.
So, Alexa, you said that your audience was mainly male. I'm curious about the rest of you. What sort of mix are your readers?
I honestly don't know. We assume it's female because women tend to sign up for newsletters more than men. But I would say that is a false assumption. I would assume it's probably 50-50.
I have gotten a few fun emails from gentlemen, so I assume they're men.
My audience is 95% soccer moms who are taking their Kindle and going to church and that kind of stuff. They're doing books.
My audience is a mix of both. I get emails from both. Mostly the creepy ones are from men though.
And I will say, if you have a Facebook page or Twitter or anything else, be prepared to receive those creepy messages non-stop.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very bad. I've never gotten one. I have a few female domination romance, and my only emails from guys were so super sweet. So yeah, no, I've never gotten one.
Tell me a bit about yourself. Are you single? We are not answering these questions.
I have
The
an
closest thing I've
autoresponder.
gotten is a kid this morning on Facebook who wanted to know if I collected stamps. And I don't know if that's about like,
I do collect stamps. Okay.
literally, he was asking me about stamps.
Lady in the back?
Yeah, so how do you deal with this? Do you ignore them? Do you block them? What's your standard operating procedure for such instances?
For me, it depends. If they start off with, tell me a bit about yourself, I normally like, well, if you check out the front page, you will find out about all that I write.
Yeah.
And then when they start pushing further, then I'll say, this is not a conversation I want to have, or I don't discuss my marital status. I'm widowed, so I especially do not let people know that. But for the most part, it depends on how, I try to keep them, but if they start pushing or if they send pictures that I do not want to see, they get blocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I blocked the penis ones.
Dick
There's a lot of
pics
those.
are not allowed. I don't care that I'm an erotica author. Please, no.
I don't want to see it.
Don't want to
They're
see
not
it.
something that selfies well. So
Sorry, I'm gonna make noise again.
Yep.
I'm curious if you all have what your tips are around blurbs, because I see some books blurbs are just like a dump of a million keywords, and some are actually a little bit more crafted. Just curious what you all think works best.
I craft my blurbs, and I also put a disclaimer at the bottom of them, just so that I make it clear that this is not for children.
Right.
You know, this is for adults, you know, and they're consenting adults, but this is, you know, 18 plus, vaguely worded. You know, I'll sometimes include, you know, there's group play, or there's this, you know, things that won't flag Amazon's. And one of the things that will may get you in trouble with Amazon is if you have the harem or reverse harem phrase on your covers, especially for erotica. That nails you.
Mostly I talk around kind of what it is to not upset Amazon, but also, and it's not shock anybody who stumbles into the wrong book, but I don't want to surprise anyone. Because for me, I want you to know going in what to expect with the book and the content. And I do have some, like I have a series that's humiliation play. It's honestly really sweet. It's really high heat for me, and it's like mostly 60,000 words of dirt talk. But I don't want somebody going into that and not understanding the type of play that's involved. So some things I will be a little bit more explicit and on the blurb, and deliberately put it in erotica, not even try to put it someplace else, because I don't want anybody to misunderstand what they're going to be doing together.
So like, okay, here's one of mine, I had to pull it up. The key to marriage is a little spice. Sometimes that spice comes from the outside. Jay and Kate are celebrating their 5th anniversary, and Jay decides to spice things up a little bit. He brings home a special gift designed to double her pleasure, double their fun for their anniversary. Will Kate enjoy having her wildest fantasies fulfilled by her husband and another man? This is a story stuffed with depraved group acts for mature audiences only. If that is not your thing, move along. So, it all depends. You should probably be upfront about this is adult content, but careful how you word it.
My adult content is labeled erotica, 18 and over only. I mean, just very first line, and then I go down and give the rest of it, because I want it to be clear. And it's never put me in the dungeon, not once, so.
There's in the back. You.
Gotcha. Do you recommend any resources for people who are literally just starting out in this genre?
20 steamy books to success. We had to change the name because back when everything was going, when they changed all the rules for trafficking, Amazon was, they were banning erotica in the group titles. So any groups that had erotica, we were getting banned. So we just, to save the knowledge that was in the group, we changed the name to Steamy.
Okay.
There are questions that you have to answer to get in. If you do not answer all 3, I will boot you.
Fair enough.
I have some resources on my, it's Paste and Press. That's my website, so I have some resources there.
What was that? Can you repeat it?
Paste, Bend, Press.
PACEBEND press?
Yes.
Okay.
And then my erotica website is Adult Tag, but the resources are on my press website.
And then Reddit has a really great erotica group, subreddit. It has all sorts for erotica writers, and that's also linked somewhere in our group, so.
Awesome. Thank you.
And sometimes your local adult stores have really good resources on their website. I know, I live in just outside of Raleigh, and ours, pre-pandemic, even like a couple towns over, held classes and all kinds of different things. So look at the erotic stores that are in your area, and look at their websites and that kind of stuff, because you might find more resources like immediately at hand.
And there's also some great books on Amazon written by some of the good people who are in our group on how to write and publish erotica. I saw someone else in the back. Yeah.
I just wanted to know if you could speak to, I've read articles of people saying that they wrote erotica to fund writing what they actually wanted to be known for.
doing.
That's what I'm doing.
I write whatever comes to my head. My readers are very tolerant.
Okay, so you write the erotica to basically have enough free time to write
Yes.
what you actually want?
I do a little bit of everything. I do, like, some of my favorite stuff is my Humiliation Play series. I also have a series that's tentacled. And my readers have been, I keep the same thread of being sweet, and no matter if it's super kinky or just kind of mildly kinky, but my readers, as long as I've kept it consistently the same kind of tone, and I'm very upfront with this is what I'm doing in this series. Like, they were a little bit hesitant on the Humiliation one, because they've only seen it done in the more traditional kind of, and I'm gonna say this badly, but in a kind of mean way, that the average person looking at the scene would be a little bit concerned. But this way, you very clearly see if both people want it. I'm very careful to go back and forth between points of view, and it's very sweetly done. So once they kind of tested the waters on some things, my readers have been very tolerant. They let me do all kinds of stuff.
I mostly write psychological thrillers, and then I spend about a week a month on keeping my erotica names up to date.
I write cozy mysteries. And I write, the fun stuff, just for fun.
And I write urban fantasy paranormal romance. So I started writing on a dare. Someone dared me to write an erotica piece, and I did. And then I said, you know what? I am better than a certain famous author, so I'm just going to keep doing this. And did.
I'd like to talk about audio. Do you have any of your shorts or longer in audio? How well do they do? Is it worth it?
I don't.
I wasn't
consider
sure.
it.
I've got some of my shorter stuff that is an audiobook. When I originally started publishing audiobook stuff, I assumed that nobody would want shorter audiobooks. But my narrator, who I was working with at the time, sat down and explained that from what he saw, that there's a different group of people who want the shorter audiobooks versus longer audiobooks. They're going to pay cash for it. They still want the quality, but some of the shorter stuff is the best-selling stuff that I did on audiobooks.
Sorry, I narrate short and long form erotica. So if you want to talk to me afterwards, I'd be happy to answer questions.
But my most recent audiobooks are actually my incest series, and I sell them through my website, and that's actually done really well. So,
Alexa?
I don't have anything in audio, but the ones that I have heard, the shorter works sell better for the authors that I know of.
Layla?
I want to put it in audio, but I haven't done it yet.
She's a narrator.
Yes.
Yep.
Strategies around bundles and box sets. I'm just wondering what do you think is most successful around bundles and box sets? Sorry. I haven't had enough coffee yet to articulate.
She's asking what is your strategies with bundles and box sets? How do y'all handle that? I personally publish it, wait 6 months, and then bundle it.
I have bundles of all different sizes. I have some that's just like 5 titles in one, and then I have one that's full series bundles, and then I have the 100 book bundles on Smashwords. So I just, whatever I feel like.
I bundled my light works, so I bundled my FF, I bundled my MM, and I just keep it going that way.
What about translations?
Have any of those translated into another language?
I have Puppy Play in German, and I have Guys in Lingerie in Italian, and finding good translators is hard. And you have to do a little bit more work on the other end once the translations are done with marketing. So I have been told from several other authors that the Germans really love more interesting things, but it's just a matter of figuring out the translations, finding somebody who's good, because some things don't directly translate. Like, I had one of my Italian readers come to me kind of giggling, where a line in a book that was the guy's coming out of the closet. So an American reader would understand what that meant, but the Italian readers were struggling with it because it was translated not with the idea of coming out, but that the guy was literally stuck in a closet and then walked out. So some things you have to really think about, is this going to translate well?
Alexa, Layla?
No, I don't have anything to do.
I didn't translate any of mine either.
Neither have I.
So those of you who write cozy mystery or other things, and also erotica, is one pen name completely separate and secret, or is it just known that it's the same person? Those of you who keep a pen name that you are behind and it's not public at all, do you kind of assume that eventually it will be out, and how do you handle that?
I personally keep it completely separate. I've only revealed my pen name here because even though it'll be on the internet, it won't matter that much. Because I also have children's books out. So that would kind of be an awkward.
On my press website, you'll find a link to Alexa with adult tag, and then so she's a link with my other pen names. But then on adult tag, I say we're a group of authors, but I don't say that all three are me, so that I have one layer between us.
I was a teacher when I first started writing, and writing full-time now, but if you are concerned about keeping the erotica stuff separate from whatever you are doing, I know I sound paranoid, 2 separate computers. Your Facebook profile, your erotica stuff one, everything else on another. Because the way the companies are taking all the data in the background, looking at where you are, those kind of things, it is entirely too easy for them to want to merge you together just for their algorithm's sake. So no, just 2 separate things.
I do have my 2 pen names. I have my cozy pen name under my company name. And then, so that has a separate Amazon account from my other work, my fun work. And so I don't link my name with Layla Piper anywhere usually. Although it's not gonna kill me if it comes out, it's not a big deal, you know. My husband knows I write it. If my husband knows I write it, then I'm good to go. So, but my Mormon parents would be, so.
Kind of like my Catholic mom.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Is newsletter building as important with erotica?
more. I would say more important.
It's one of your only places that you're gonna get advertisement and stuff for your work. It's hard to advertise otherwise.
And I will say personally, building my newsletter with Story Origin seemed to be the best way to do it, because Story Origin actually has erotica tags, so you can easily find your group of erotica writers who you can swap with or do promotions with.
And I'm one of the many people who thinks that one day Amazon is going to implode. So when they do, for whatever reason, you need your readers to know where to find you. Teach your readers to come to your site. Even if it's to check for new releases, if you give them a freebie once in a while. Train them from as soon as you can, the very beginning, to come to that one place, even if they like your newsletter, or they like coming to your Facebook group, whatever it is, but teach them to go back to your website, because that's going to be where you could sell them things, and that's where you have a lot more control.
Yeah, I use newsletters for like my thrillers, but I don't use, I have signups, but I don't really use newsletters for my erotica shorts, because I just don't believe my readers read newsletters.
I don't have a newsletter, but that's because I'm lazy, and I already run one newsletter for the other pen name, and it's a pain in the neck.
I think that's everything. I think our time is up. So if you have any questions, I'm sure you can ask any of us, and there's ribbons up here if you want them.